It's been weeks, maybe months, since we've had any tangible news about Assassin's Creed Mirage, so while we're waiting for Ubisoft to drop some new information, we're going to try and do a classic YouTube thing that is a top 6 list of what we'd like to see in Mirage, and we're going to discuss these topics in 2 videos. Today we're going to discuss our expectations for what concerns the assassin characters, traditions, and lore, our hopes for a historical grounded story, and our anticipations for what we might find in the City of Baghdad, so let's not wait any longer. This is what we're hoping to see in Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, I do appreciate the irony of hosting a livestream recently where I said I only do analysis and news stuff, mostly factual stuff, with no content about what might be, and not so much after that we are here discussing our top 6 things we'd like to see in Mirage, but even in this case I can't make it fully about new stuff I'd like to see, but rather elements I'd like to see concerning topics and features that have already been announced. So let's start with number 1, the assassin characters, traditions, and lore. The Assassin's Creed Mirage CGI trailer was pretty clear in showing that the game will have a huge focus on the traditions and rituals of the Creed, with Basim starting as an acolyte or apprentice and thus being exposed to the tenets of the Creed, the cutting of the ring finger, and the use of the hidden blade. These are some of the elements that we were used to see in the original games, and to be honest, they haven't been lost completely as they did appear from time to time, but I have to say, I do look forward to see all the traditional elements coming back in an assassin context, playing as an assassin character. Other aspects we are likely bound to see are the leap of faith, the approach and philosophy of the Brotherhood, and the rank system from acolyte or apprentice all the way to master assassin. Actually, the rank system has already been confirmed, with every rank unlocking new abilities, outfits, weapons, resources, and tools. As Basim, we're going to rise up until the Master Assassin rank, though we will surely witness some mentor characters such as Roshan, and potentially even a Master Mentor, as we'll see later. 2 other classic elements that will be part of the story will of course be the long-lasting feud between the Hidden Ones and the Order of the Ancients, and the existence of the Isu, which likely Basim might have a vague understanding or feeling of through the Jinn, even before joining the Brotherhood. So judging by the devs' comments, all that should be at the forefront of the game, but I do hope this is also going to be contextualized within the history and lore of the Assassins and the Templars. Mirage will in fact take place before Alfred's reformation of the Order of the Ancients into the Templar Order, and apparently, according to a comment by creative director Stéphane Boudon, what we're going to see is one of the last remaining cells of the Order of the Ancients before the Reformation, though the Assassin's Creed Transmedia might beg to differ. As for the Assassins, or Hidden Ones, they had their ups and downs through history, but while they are reduced to many hidden cells scattered across the globe in the modern day, at the time of Mirage, they should be in a period of growth and increased power, which is going to be represented by them building a huge castle, Alamut, to manage their power and influence over the region, which is a whole different stance that I really am interested to see. By the events shown in the game, the Hidden Ones are still a secretive organization at this point, which I know it sounds a little counterintuitive with building an enormous castle, but as the devs said, this is a period where the Hidden Ones are already considering going public, something that they will actually do at a later stage with the reformation of Hassan Isa Ba in 1090, around 2 centuries after Mirage, before going secret again under the guidance of mentor Altair ibn La Ahad. In general, I think it's going to be interesting to see the Hidden Ones under a different light. They're now a powerful and growing organization, but a secretive one. It's going to look similar to what we saw in AC1, but this is a Brotherhood that is going to start its evolution process, so we might see some differences of opinion as for what concerns the direction of the Brotherhood, and we could see some upper echelons of the organization debating what to do next. The castle of Alamut itself will not be explorable, and I wonder if that's still the case with the rumored devs being added to the project, the game being postponed, having more dev time, etc. But even if we can't visit the castle, it's safe to assume Alamut will be the center of all the Hidden One's knowledge, traditions, and even power of the region. Devs have stated in the past that Basim will meet the assassin higher-ups in here, so not only Roshan, and we have already found evidence of a master mentor called Rayhan or Raihan, whose name was dropped not only at the end of Valhalla as the mentor who actually sent Basim and Hytham to England to purge it from the Order of the Ancients, but he was also the original bearer of the Mentor of Alamut item set, which can be gained from the Roshan quest in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And again, we have mentioned this a few times, another mentor called Fulad was mentioned in Valhalla as well, so I'd like to see if he's also going to be portrayed or name dropped in Mirage. But I would imagine and expect to see not only the leaders, but many other hidden ones, including a young Hytham, during the cutscenes at the very least, and an example of additional hidden ones, which we already reported, is the Banu Musa brothers, who were actual historical characters, famous scholars and inventors of the time, that in Mirage will be part of the Brotherhood, and that will help Basim upgrade his gear. We also know already that there will be some activities in and around Alamut's castle, such as training and equipment trading, so I do hope that by doing our Hidden Ones training, errands and missions, we might be able to gather more information about the Hidden Ones as an organization, their stance in Baghdad in the 9th century, and their recent and past history, all the way up to their foundation in Egypt. In fact, devs have mentioned that there might be some hints and connections to Bayek and his legacy, and specifically that within Alamut, players will be able to discover what happened between Bayek and the foundation of the Brotherhood and the events shown in Assassin's Creed 1. Number 2. A historically grounded story. I know devs have already announced this far and wide, but still I'd really like to see this, a historical grounded story that does focus on the Hidden Ones and on Basim in Baghdad in the second half of the 9th century, with the only out of the ordinary elements lying in Basim's mind and memories, and well, I'd be surprised not to see any Isu/First Civilization elements throughout the story, even just considering that according to the lore, Alamut's castle should be located over the remains of a small Isu temple. But there are so many possibilities for where Basim's story might be grounded in, starting with his origins in Samarra, his birth in 835 AD, the very early death of his mother, the death of his father after he was discredited and dishonored, and in general, what led to the start of the game, which are all info that are very likely to be in the game, possibly in the shape of a flashback, or as documents, or as monologues or dialogues by characters that were around at the time. The game itself will start in 861 AD, with Basim partaking in a quote-unquote act of deadly retribution, which, as we mentioned in previous videos, might entail his participation in the assassination of Caliph al-Mutawakkil in retaliation for having his father Ishaq die in poverty and disgrace, so that's how Basim might be involved in an important historical event. The historical period that followed al-Mutawakkil's assassination is called Anarchy at Samarra, a period of turmoil of the caliphate marked by violent succession of 4 more caliphs that lasted until 870, so our story might deal with that as well, though we should also consider that in 867, Basim, already a master assassin, will be with Hytham in Constantinople for the story told in the Golden City novel, and in the later years he also traveled to Antioch, while mostly being stationed with Hytham in Constantinople as its Hidden Ones bureau leader. So it's not clear how long we're going to follow Basim's life in Baghdad, but apparently long enough to witness the Zanj rebellion, that is a major insurrection led by African slaves against the Abbasid Caliphate after they had been captured and deported from Southeast Africa and taken to the Middle East. The rebellion started in 869, that would be 8 years after the supposed start of Mirage in 861, and according to the devs, it is going to be the main historical event that the clash between the Hidden Ones and the Order of the Ancients in this game will be centered around. so adding up all these days we can surmise that Basim won't stay in Baghdad or Alamut continuously and instead will follow several missions across the land, which makes sense considering the hidden ones and their purpose. With that in mind though, it's also difficult to have a proper idea of when the game is going to end. Ideally, it could end with Basim meeting Sigurd for the first time, linking directly to the start of Valhalla, but maybe it's going to end up sooner, tying in to the transmedia releases featuring Basim instead. Number 3. The City of Baghdad. Let's have a better look at the setting of the game and what we can expect from it. Mirage is going to be set in Baghdad during the Islamic Golden Age, where the city was a center of knowledge, commerce, art and cultural flourishment and was the top city of the Abbasid Caliphate. Of course, Baghdad and its cultural and political environments are going to be one of the main selling points of the game. We know the city will be organized in 4 districts, with the Round City area and the Caliphate Palace at the center, the industrial district called Kark, another district dedicated to science which will feature the House of Wisdom Library, another district dedicated to trading, and the military sub-district of Sharqiya. The House of Wisdom specifically was described by creative director Stefan Boudon as the biggest library of that time, where scientists from all over the world debated and revised the scriptures, and as we already mentioned, it was visited multiple times by Basim in his early years as he was quote-unquote consumed with a passion for understanding. This is where young Basim also met mathematician and astronomer Al-Khwarizmi, who taught him about several quote-unquote scientific wonders, something I'd love to see in the game. Baghdad will be a cultural hub, meaning there's going to also be a story/historical reason to represent different ethnicities within the game, but according to the devs, it's also going to be a dense city like Unity's Paris, as mentioned by art director Jean-Luc Salah, which in turn should lead to more parkour possibilities and the so-called parkour highways. But there's much more for Baghdad in this historical period that we might find in the game, like the 4 gates leading to the towns of Damascus, Basra, Kufa and Khorasan, a zoo that displayed many animals, the canals outside the Round City that would make the nearby land fertile, the first scientific astronomy observatory created by Caliph Al-Mamun, and of course many markets, public baths, fountains, gardens, schools, libraries, and even the chance of seeing horse racing and polo games that were played at the time, which might work as minigames. And these are just the tip of the iceberg of the things that we could see in Mirage, but now I would like to know what are your expectations, what it is that you would like to see in the game. Do let me know in the comments below, I really want to know. Also, while waiting for some official news about the game, keep an eye out for our next video where we're going to discuss our hopes and expectations about Mirage's gameplay systems, the historical characters we might meet, and the Isu meta story that should permeate the game. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in our next video.